Good evening, honorable chairs, dear paper presenters. I'll present my paper on the estimating total economic cost of COVID-19 in Nepal and its implication at macro and micro level. I'll present my paper with these outlines as follows: political economic scenario of Nepal, context of COVID-19, objectives, model, data and methods, results and discussion, conclusion. In the case of the political and economic scenario of Nepal, I will briefly introduce about it. And all of you know about Nepal has more than 2,000 years long history lying between the two giant countries, China and Nepal. India, it is landlocked country, but the situationally or positionally it is in landlocked country. Nepal is rich for different natural resources. One of it, white peaks of Himalaya, which are quite beautiful and attractive to all over the world. Similarly, Nepal has huge water resources potential, and Nepal is categorized into the second richest of the world for water resources, and it having 8 to 3,000 hydro megawatt potentials. Moreover, Nepal is holy place for Buddhists and Hindus, and in the case of the Buddhist, Nepal is a birthplace of the Buddha and Lumbini, and for the Hindu, Pashupatinath temple is a holy place for them. Demographically, Nepal has 30 million population, and with the 103 caste and communities having heterogeneous culture, language, religion and customs, and all are living from the 200 meter sea level to the 8,000 meter sea level. So far concerned about the Nepalese economy or the macroeconomic indicators, major indicator is the economic growth, and it is positive, it is progressing. Nepal has achieved 6% average economic growth in the last 3 consecutive years, and this is very impactful and impressive and positive and vibrating macroeconomic indicators. And between the two high economic growth countries, China and India, but still Nepal has to achieve more economic growth rate, but still we haven't, and still we haven't transformed our economic sectors. Yes, we have achieved at some extent in the service sector. Its contribution is approximately 59%, and industrial sector is still 13.5%, and then after agriculture sector 26.5%, and sectorally agriculture sector is a powerful and the major sector to dominate the Nepalese agriculture, but that agriculture sector is still mentioned and substance in the 21st century's digital era, and also we haven't mobilized more land, more than 20%, and we have still 70% small landholders, and its contribution is the 26.5% to the GDP, and it has multiplier linkage and supply chain and the backward and forward chains with the industry, trade and employment opportunities. And interestingly, 67% people depending on in the agriculture sector, and they have considered this sector for their major livelihood, for energy, food, income, asset. Since 1990s, Nepalese economy has transformed through the liberalization, and in this situation, foreign employment, trading, and remittance have transformed the economy, and remittance in the Nepalese labor are interested or attracted to go abroad to work, and that remittance income contributes 28% to the GDP, and it is a major share, and it is a major share And but interestingly, we are also the 10th country of the Indians, remittance sources. Despite all these beautiful things and also the prospective things, we have a different challenge. One is the poverty. Nepal has still massive poverty, and its size is the 18.7% in 2019, but when you observe the 2014, you can easily find out 25.5%. And in the another issue is the unemployment, underemployment. When we talk about the unemployment, we have 11%. This is the big and massive unemployment rate, but it is supplemented and complemented by the 67% seasonal unemployment rate. Look here, and in this situation, we cannot effectively contribute to the poverty reduction. And third issue is the alarming huge trade deficit. Yes, we love to depend other countries. It means our production sector is in the contraction. Means from 15% to the 13.5% industrial sector. In this situation, what will happen? We are not independent for food and the non-food goods for Nepalese people or the Nepalese market, and in that it contributes alarming trade deficit in our economy, and that is equivalent to the 28%. And when you talk about the budget, this is the 75%, and it indicates the our loss of the productivity. We export our labor, and its negative implication can be found in the trade. We just import the goods and services to maintain our living standard in the country, and this is the big challenge at macro level and also the macroeconomic stability and health to the country. And other issue is we have our GDP debt has been increasing. Another issue is the wider saving and investment gap. These indicates the constraints to our economy. All of you know about the COVID scenario. This is the pandemic. This is the infection disease. Please remember, and it has worldwide catch up the 5.2 million people, and it killed 0.4 million population. And all of you know its first outbreak happened in the January 9 in the Wuhan city of China, and with 44 cases. And nowadays, if you observe here in the May, you can easily find out its high intensity can be found in USA and then G20 countries. In USA, 1.5 million population are infected, and 0.1 million people are killed. And in this situation, this is the first catch or the spread in the G20 countries. But similarly, you can easily find out the raises the issues of the outbreak or the breakdown of the global health system. And another is it also raises the different crises related to the culture, religion, humanitarian and economic crisis of the 8 trillion world economy, and also the 7.8 billion world population. Let's imagine its in depth or the intensity of the crisis. Similarly, you can its loss. IMF indicates the projects $3 trillion US, and it is quietly positively correlated with our GDP per capita published by the World Bank. And in this situation, it indicates the world after the COVID, global economy will be in the transform and reorder. And we in this situation, our thinking, behavior, technology, priority, and the investment and trade industry will be ranged or the transform. Similar situation can be found in the South Asia or the SAARC countries. SAARC country, its economy is the 3.67 trillion US, and but if you observe the COVID's spread, it is slow and gradual, but it has catch up the 0.11 million population. In SAARC, India will be the epicenter despite the declining cases like Pakistan. But if you observe the Bangladesh and Nepal, they have inclining situation and inclining situation. But problem is the SAARC country has a large size of the poor and the vulnerable population. They will be the major target of the COVID-19. And in this situation, SAARC has a challenge to rethink and restructure its function, its effectiveness to tackle that problem. This paper has two major objectives: to estimate total economic cost of the COVID-19 in Nepalese economy, and second one is to assess the potential impacts of the COVID-19 at macro and micro level. Yes, this study has a major limitation is the database, but still I try to do the different types of the methodology. First of all, descriptive quantitative method and the descriptive statistics, and then after I try to use the small model. One is the theoretical model to estimate the total economic cost including direct and indirect cost, and in the direct cost I use the health expenditure of the government, and the second one, indirect cost, I use the preventive cost, that is the total output loss. And then after I try to find out what is the relationship between or the impact of the total loss and the COVID-19 on our GDP by using the simple multiple regression model. This study is the quantitative resource design and the and also the analytical empirical nature. Its data nature is the time series. I have collected all the data from February 2020 to the May 20 and from the WHO and the government, Nepal government's websites and South Asia's websites, and its validity and reliability are tested with the databases of the FSCCI, CNI and NRP websites. And in this situation, now I would like to present my results and discussion. First of all, total economic cost of COVID-19. This is my first result, and in this situation I found 540 billion total economic loss, and that is the 5.4 billion US dollar. It is not a small to this small this Nepalese economy. Nepalese economy is the 38.32 billion. If we assume $1 US is equal to 100 Nepalese currency, and it is 14% of the GDP ratio. This is the 14% loss of the economy. And when we talk about the budget, this is the 35% budget resources loss. And when we observe what is the impact of the total loss on the GDP loss and the COVID loss, we can easily find out the total economic loss has contributed 0.86 out of 1% variation of the GDP. And similarly, COVID-19's positive cases of Nepal also shows the 0.40 explain to the one variation of the 1% of the total GDP loss. And in this situation, these COVID and the preventive and also the direct COVID cases have negative implication on our GDP loss majorly, and it shows us our poor vulnerability of our production, consumption and distribution system of the economy. Result 3, and this is related to the economic growth. Economic growth is a major macroeconomic indicators, and all of this is the GDP change, and it measures the performance, aggregate performance of the economy. And in this situation, at the present moment, what is the reflection of the total economic loss on the economic growth? And total economic loss is the loss of all the economic sectors, and economic growth is nothing. This is the total outlay of the economic sectors: agriculture, industry and service sector. In this situation, each and every sector has a degrowth situation. Its negative implication can be found. Degrowth of Nepal 0.1, and it is similar with the earthquake shock, and this exogenously shock has brought the downfall of the economic growth of Nepal. And its major cause is the slowdown of agriculture, slowdown of industry, slowdown of service sector, slowdown of trade sector, and loss of the employment opportunities. And all people, 3 crore population or the 30 million population are in the lockdown. No production, no more consumption, no other different types of the activities. And in this situation, this is the major setback, major crisis. On the basis of that, we can estimate, we can expect that our economy will be in the depressed situation. And how much we can care and how much we respond to this situation, we don't know about it. But the how in the coming years, how much time we need to recover, revive this economy. This is the first one. And when we observe the total output loss per day, 10 billion rupees is loss. How much we extend the lockdown, so much our economy lose the our output, and its negative implication goes on our economic growth rate. And this is very tough or challenge to this small economy. Result 4 is related to the employment and poverty. And employment is a major macroeconomic objectives, and poverty is relates to the microeconomics. And in this situation, they have a correlation. And generally, macroeconomic policy's major objective is to generate employment opportunities. In Nepal, almost we have just like the 10 million population are in the economically active. Out of that, 96.4% are in the informal sector, and 3.4% in the formal sector. And in this situation, out of the formal sector, almost people are engaged in the different economic sector, and almost in accordance with the government statistics, 7.6 million population are employed formally and informally, partially and fully. And due to the COVID and lockdown, our population over 55 or the 60 days, they are unemployed. And if you calculate, it is gives us the 16.4% contribution to our unemployment. And we have a present unemployment of 11.1%. And in this situation, our unemployment will be 27.5%. It is a massive look at. And in this situation, what will happen? There are due to the degrowth and of the economic sectors, our people have lost the job, and its effect can be found more in the urban areas than rural areas, and it's more effect on the male than the female. But in the case of the female, we try to empower the female. We try to improve their equality and the productivity. And in this situation, what will happen? It will be the setback, and the women's discrimination may increase. Empowerment, disempowerment, may increase in the urban and then rural areas, and the violence and crimes may increase. And in this situation, its negative implication, loss of jobs, negative implication goes on the poverty. And generally, what will happen? If you observe first of all, we must understand about the income distribution. We have four groups of the income. One is the upper class, middle class, and vulnerable and poor group. And when we observe the two groups, upper and middle class, will not get the much more effect, but its more effect goes on the vulnerable group and poor group. And just generally, what will happen in the pre-COVID, 49%, 5% people are in the vulnerable group, 31% in the poor group. But after COVID, it will be the vulnerable group shifted to the poor group, and poverty will be increased 38.47. Means there is a social, household transformation in the society, and it means poverty is increasing by 7.47. And in this situation, generally what will happen? What is the region? Means the remittance is decreasing, labor income is increasing. Labor income is the 50 approximately 52%. Now it will be 35.4%. Remittance contribution is 27%. It will be 20.76%. And in this situation, what will happen? Poverty level may be 31.6%. And in this situation, it brings us the big transformation, social, economic, and political level at rural and the urban area, and it will be the big challenge to the Nepalese economy. My fifth result is related to the foreign employment, remittance, foreign exchange, and trade and BO. These are also the major macroeconomic indicators which are related to the macroeconomy health and stability. Just like if we lost remittance, what will happen? Its negative implication goes on the foreign exchange and BOP. And first of all of you know about it. Its contribution 28% of the GDP. And in this situation, it contributes 60% of the foreign exchange. What will happen? The growth of the remittance will be 18%. And in this situation, what will happen? That's its negative implication goes on the our foreign exchange reserve. It will be 39%. And its negative consequence will be on the our foreign exchange reserve. Generally, IMF says it may be for 8 months. Now look here, after the COVID, it will be 4.55. Means the Nepalese economy will sit down in the critical zone. In the case of the foreign exchange reserve, look here. And similarly, if your decline of the BOP, yes, we expect the changing negative BOP to the positive BOP. Now it will be consistent because of the decreasing remittance income of the country, and it is a big challenge to the macroeconomic stability and health to the country. And in this situation, when we talk about the trade, yes, due to the lockdown, our trade activities are slipped or the slow down. In this situation, our export and import ratio must be declined, but we haven't. And our trade deficit must be slipped down, but we haven't. And the BOP will be must be slipped down or the positive, but we haven't. That is the scenarios because of the decreasing remittance has negative implication or balance of payment, and in this situation balance of payment cannot transfer from negative to the positive at that critical situation. In this situation, we must think about the how to maintain our macroeconomic health and stability, and with high economic growth rate. And generally economists and the academicians have discussed about it, and they have suggested we have to use this opportunity to develop the self-reliant economy. And my last findings is relates to the revenue, budget deficit, and fiscal deficit. Look here, this is also a big problem. It is not leading to the loss of the output and economic activities. It is also loss of the contracts, the revenue resources. And in this situation, yes, we have performed. Our revenue and GDP ratio is approximately 25%, but it is just managed our regular expenditure. And in this situation, it is slipped down by 200 billion. What will happen? This in this contraction, where our budget deficit will be wider than our expectation, fiscal deficit will be wider than our expectation. In this situation, they will be out of track, or the outlier with the in the comparison with the reference of the IMF. And in this situation, Nepal's economy will fall or will have new trait of the imbalances of the macroeconomic health and instability and degrowth. And in this situation, we must think about the how to maintain, how to address it. From above, rituals, I conclude here, simply, but the first of all, in the case of the world, it is the big crisis, and it has degrowth all over the world. In the South Asia also, similar situation. Nepal has also, and despite the small economy, Nepal has to suffer, has a multi negative implication in the multi macroeconomic indicators as well as the microeconomic indicators. And in this situation, despite the external shock, Nepal should find crisis management at endogenous level by boost of demand side of the market with direct money transfer and supply side, and with fiscal and monetary surplus stimulus package to 3S survival, stable and stimulus of production sector along with the inclusive growth. The state should play a leading role to strengthen production and market along with healthcare system. But when we talk about the SAARC, and the SAARC should be active to respond to the medication and the medicine of the COVID-19, and India should lead in this regard. And in post-COVID-19 will reorder and restructure the world economic power and business in SAARC also in the course of the disinvestment of the MNC in China, and based on the MNC's interest in India, it indicates India may be the epicenter of investment, trade and business after COVID, and therefore SAARC should be developed to grab this opportunity to recapitalize, to revive and recover national economy of SAARC member countries like Nepal. Thank you.